Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics video on the channel. The season is upon us. The first game of the season is tonight, which means that captains are back for 2025. And hopefully we can give you guys some good captains as well as hopefully I can pick some good captains for my own team. And hopefully you guys have some good captains as well. So we'll go through my top 10 options on here, obviously going through Captain's Challenge. So you guys can get involved on Captain's Challenge as well. You can put in your top 5 captains each week and see who the best captain picker is by the end of the season. So heap of experts, including your likes of your Calvin and Mitch and Jaiden's projections obviously puts him in as well. So all the experts putting in their captains are going to be on here. Yeah, we'll see how we go against all them and who we're going to be picking as captain. So we'll go through my top 10 options. And we'll go from 1 to 5 and then we'll go through my 6 to 10 and there as well. So my top captain option in round 1 is Max Gawn. I toss up between the top 2 for a while. But I just think Max Gawn coming up against the Lockie Keefer and Nick Madden is just too good to pass up if you've got him. He just with the fact that of how good Darcy Cameron went last week, if he can go 136, you better believe Max Gawn can go about that as well. Max Gawn never really has been typically a guy that absolutely dominated weaker ruckman. Normally actually goes really well against the better ruckman, to be fair, and puts up massive scores. But I just think this is too good a matchup to pass up. Whether that sways you in the direction of starting him over a Tristan Xerri or a Tim English or someone else you're starting is another question. I almost feel like if you're going Gawn, I'd almost want him R2, just because I don't know if you've got a Xerri, I don't know if I'd want to just go Xerri to Gawn. Maybe you go to both, but I think it's probably too much money to spend up in the rucks, to be honest, because if a Briggs becomes a good option after dropping in price, how are you going to get to him? You probably don't really want to be training a Gawn or a Xerri to him at some point unless there's a suspension or injury. So, be a Gawn for me. Back at the MCG, first game of the season, captain of Melbourne. They want to be getting off to a good start, and it is a tough matchup though. But Gawn, I think, is my number 1 option in such a good matchup. Coming at number 2, and he'll be probably a lot of people's captain for round 1, is Tristan Xerri. Again, great matchup against Tim English in round 1. So, yeah, I just think that he's going to be so popular that it's almost... The reason he's almost at number 2 as well was the fact of it being a little bit almost safer as well in numbers, because so many people are going to go him captain. It's ridiculous. I'm just, as we speak, getting up his scores against Tim English last year, and we know that he had a couple of decent scores against him last year, and it's a great matchup under the roof at Marvel. So Tristan Xerri here, I'm getting up his scores. So he played the Dogs twice last season, played them first in round 16 and then played them in round 23. So scores of 129 and 122. So an average around that, what is it? I forget the way. 125.5. If you get a 120 from a captain in round 1, you're pretty happy. So I think Xerri's got he's obviously got a high ceiling. Obviously his tackles are still going to be there. We saw that against West Coast, and I think against a depleted Bulldogs team as well, ran the ball. Like no Bont, no Treloar, could be some extra touches around in the middle for him, which his tackles will be there. Dogs are a high stoppage team. So I think Xerri is good, and I thought about putting him number 1, and I just thought the Gawn matchup was just too good to pass up. So that's why I've gone Gawn 1, Xerri 2. Coming at number 3, someone I've got in my team at the moment, and I was tossing up between him and Xerri for my own team as captain, is Jordan Dawson. So he's obviously got the Saints at home. We saw what a Tristan Xerri did again. Sorry, not Tristan Xerri. We saw what Connor Rozee did to St Kilda in the preseason with a 142. Dawson's got the ceiling, fills all the stat lines. He's a great captain option week in, week out anyway. Played St Kilda. Hang on. No, my screen has just gone stupid for some reason. Played St Kilda, is it once last year? Yeah, played them once last year, scored a 114. And that was with 84% CBAs as well, which was interesting. That was his only game from round 14 onwards where he went over 70. He did have a game with 70%, but besides that, that was his most attended game. Whether he gets the 80% or not, I'm not sure. And then he played St Kilda the year before, again at Adelaide Oval, and he scored a 116. So a decent enough record against them. I think Dawson could go better than that in round 1 and get off to a good start, and I think St Kilda will be a good matchup. So Dawson for me to get off to a good start and is my number 3 option. Coming in at number 4, I've got another guy I've been really keen on this preseason. Don't currently have him in my team at the moment. Andrew Brayshaw against Geelong. I think that we know Geelong was a great matchup for midfielders last year. And round one captains are so hard to pick, right? Because you're going based off of the numbers from last year, and it could be different this year. I think that the Gawn one's different because Giants have got essentially no ruck this week, so he'll be fine. Cherry's got a great matchup, and rucks are a bit easier to predict in terms of matchups because it's the most likely the same ruck. English is a good matchup for rucks. Cherry will go well. Dawson against St Kilda, we've already seen they're a good matchup in the preseason, and I think that they were hard last year, but I don't see them being hard this year. And Andrew Brayshaw against Geelong. Geelong have been a good matchup for a number of years for mids as well. So I think Andrew Brayshaw will be good. Sarong, if anyone will get the tag, I think Brayshaw will be the guy that's let free if there is any tag. And I think, Brayshaw is on. I think he's on for a good year this year. And that's why I've got him at number 4 in a good matchup and against Geelong. It is a GMHBA, which is a little bit sort of iffy, but I still think he'll be very good nonetheless. Next, we do have Connor Rozee at number 5. I thought about maybe not having him in the top 5 this week just because of the toe issue that he had in obviously last week with the tackle from Horn France in training. I think he'll be fine though, and I expect him to put up a good score here, and obviously no Butters. If anyone's going to be tagged, it's probably going to be a Horn Francis. I just expect Rozee to start off with a good score. Good match I was winning against Collingwood. Is at the MCG, so could get a few of those +6s in the wide open spaces of the G. So Connor Rozee, I like him for a good score as well. I think he only got a 70-odd against them last year, which obviously is one thing to note, but I don't see him going that poorly again. I do see him going quite well in this matchup. I'm actually just looking it up here. So, played Collingwood in round 6 and scored, 70 points, which was his lowest score for the season at that point because he'd gone 99 or more in every game to start the season except that one. That was his first. And then, funny enough, it was the week after when he had that injury against St Kilda and had those injury-affected games. But, I expect him to put up a good score. Collingwood are a good matchup. And he scored a 108 against them the year before. So I think he'll be fine. And I think Collingwood will be another good matchup for mids. My 6 through 10, which obviously we can't put on the screen in the top 5, but we'll go through them anyway. Coming at number 6 is Harry Sheezel. So coming up against the Dogs, a depleted Dogs midfield as well. We expect Harry Sheezel to get that bump in CBAs, particularly with George Wardlaw being out. It'll be interesting to see how it goes with Simpkin and Parker back in the team, whether that eats a tiny bit into a Sheezel and maybe a Tom Powers CBA usage. I think they'll still be fine, though. The top 3 will be LDU, Powell, and Sheezel. Could be Sheezel number 2, number 3. Sheezel just finds the ball, though. Even if he's starting at half forward, he rolls up, he gets involved. He's just a good player no matter where he plays. So I expect him to get off to a good start. And he's my number 6 and probably a bit stiff to miss out on the top 5, to be honest. But got him at number 6. Lockie Whitfield at number 7. So Melbourne, decent enough matchup. I know Melbourne have been a bit tougher for defenders, but I just think Melbourne will be fine. And the fact that it's at the G as well, we know Whitfield loves to run, and being at the wide open space of the G, I could see him putting up a pretty good score here. So Lockie Whitfield for me is coming in at number 7. And I'm actually just getting up now exactly what he scored because I'm very certain that he had a good week. I did look at all this before recording the video, but just for reference here, and I like to think I can remember a lot of things, but unfortunately when it comes to like a lot of stats, if it's not Laird or Dawson, I can't remember off the top of my head. So Lockie Whitfield last year played Melbourne at the MCG in round 20 and scored a 127. So the ceiling was there last year, and I think he'd go well again. We have seen, though, some players after a really hot game have then struggled a little bit the next week. So that's probably a little flag just to pick out there as well. I think Whitfield would be fine, though, so I expect him to go well, and I've got him at number 7. Number 8, I've got a Caleb Sarong. He could cop some sort of attention, whether it's like a Tom Atkins that goes to him as well, because I think that Tom Atkins actually does match up quite well against a guy like a Caleb Sarong. I just think he'll go well enough. Sarong scored a 103 against them at Optus Stadium, against Geelong at Optus Stadium last year. So, like a solid enough score. We know Sarong didn't have a great back sort of half to 2/3 of the season with some lower scores, but Geelong, good matchup. He's had a pretty good preseason as well. Sarong obviously scored, 88 points from 3 quarters against Melbourne. So I expect Sarong to have another good score again. Coming in at number 9 is Noah Anderson, West Coast. great matchup for midfielders, and I expect that to be the case once again this season. And Noah Anderson is a guy we know has got a ceiling. He's now the captain, so I know it's away, and Anderson's scores away from home haven't been great. I just think that with the captaincy, the extra responsibility, Gold Coast want to take that next step and finally get into the finals for the first time ever. I think Anderson's going to be the guy leading the charge, and I think he could take that step towards the 110 average this year. And if he's going to take that step towards that 110, he's got to have these bigger scores away from home and lift that floor away from home, which I think he'll do. He's down the list, though, just because it is away. If it was at home, I would probably be very close, if not maybe in the top. It might be number 5, maybe number 4, just with the matchup. But yeah, for me, at number 9, just because it's away from home. And coming in at number 10, I've actually got Tom De Koning. So obviously against Richmond, I think there's going to be a couple of good scores from some Carlton players tonight. And I think Tom De Koning could be one of them. We know Nank is a great matchup for rucks and gives up points. And I expect Tom De Koning to be cashing in, obviously with no Pitney there. Solo ruck. First game of the season, I could see a big score coming from Tom De Koning. And will be a fairly popular VC just for people to chuck it on him just to see if he went 120, 130, 140 and whether they bring in a red dot or something. Or if Boyd's not named, it'd be pretty easy to be doing something like that. So he's a pretty nice option on the Thursday night to be going a VC there. So the 3 players I think that were just unlucky to miss out in the top 10, Jason Horne-Francis, Adam Cerra and Zach Merritt. So Jason Horne-Francis obviously against Collingwood. We talked about Rozee being a good matchup. I think Horne-Francis could have a good score there, and had a game at the G against I think Melbourne last year. Took a lot of marks, so we could see that again. He's taken a lot of marks in the preseason in both games I've seen him play. So if he's doing that, could be a good score coming. Adam Cerra against Richmond. He could be the guy that has that ceiling score tonight and goes quite big. So he would be someone I'd be keeping an eye on as well. And you could even chuck the VC on him if you've got him in your side. And then Zach Merritt just misses out because of Hawthorn being the tough matchup and whether a Connor Nash or someone goes to him. That's why I don't have him in the 10, just with the tough matchup and potential tag. But if you are starting him, I don't think many are, with Eston playing one less game than everyone else. In draft, obviously, is one where you'd be looking at it. I just think with the Hawthorn matchup, probably not quite, and that's the reason he get into my top 10. Just some of the other ones are here that are highly selected by people on Captain's Challenge. Nick Dacos, just not going near that, to be honest, after a really grueling game where he's cramping a lot in the game against the Giants. Comes up against Port. He's been really good against Port in the past, but Willem Drew will probably get more CBAs because of Butters not being there, which I think is even more opportunity for potential tag from Willem Drew and Nick Dacos. And they're on the other hand, sorry, I was trying to think of how to say it. On the other hand, Nick Dacos being the media, obviously Kane Corns let loose on Nick, so he might take that personally and might actually put up a big score this week. So who knows? But I don't have him in my top 10 this week. Paddy Cripps, a few people going to target that Richmond matchup, but for me, just not many people are starting him and not a captain option for me. Probably a VC, a good VC in draft actually. If you have him in draft, a good one to do if you've got captains on and everything like that, could be one there. Rowan Marshall, just not trusting with the pelvis injury, even if his name's Solo Ruck, I just wouldn't go there as a captain. If he could have been a VC chef, he's playing early, but he plays on the Sunday, so not for me this week. Dane Zorko could cop a Will Hayward tag, and Sydney are a tough team as it is. It is at the SCG, so I probably wouldn't be looking at that. Isaac Heaney, tough matchup there against Brisbane. Lockie Neal, I expect to get the James Jordan tag, so I wouldn't be looking at him. Sam Walsh, if he hadn't had an interrupted preseason, would definitely be in my top 10. He'd be he could be in the top 5 as well, just with the limited preseason. He's a candidate if they're up by a fair bit. He could be subbed out in the third quarter just to not overdo him. It's round 1. If they're up by a fair bit, he's had a limited preseason. He could be a candidate to be subbed out. So not for me this week. Josh Dunkley, tough matchup. And then you've got like Will Day. I wouldn't look at it there. Essen, does he get tagged or not after last week? Nick Martin could be a smoky in like a draft, but I wouldn't look at it. Some other options here are solid, but I probably wouldn't look at many of these. I'm just having a quick look here if I've missed anyone. To be fair, my boy Laird against St Kilda might rack up some +6s, but obviously not looking at him as a captain option, I don't think. So that's how I'd probably assess all the captains this week and there. But let me know in the comments below who you guys are going with your captain and vice captain this week. For me, I'm going a Tristan Xerri captain and Jordan Dawson vice captain. If Harry Boyd is not named, then I will probably more than likely have a red dot on my bench, which would mean I'd be going a Tristan Xerri VC into a Jordan Dawson captain on the Sunday. but I'll know that obviously by tomorrow night anyway. But at the moment, it's just a Tristan Xerri straight captain. I'm trying to go for 30 green dots, which is why I'll just go the straight captain this week, and I'm going Xerri, who's my number 2, as I don't have Max Gawn. So as I said, let me know your captains, vice captains in the comments below. And if you've got any other questions, put them in the comments, and I'll try my best to get to them before the start of those games that commence and everything like that. So yeah, any questions you guys have. If you guys want to get involved in our Patreon as well, you may only have an hour or two before it closes off for the Cash League, the AFL Fantasy Fanatics Patreon Cup Open League. The 3 high-scoring coaches will get a cash prize. Obviously, first gets a decent amount as well, and second and third will get a little bit of money there as well. So if you guys want to get involved in that, along with get some bonus and exclusive content, then head over to patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. Yeah, you can get involved with that. Link is also in the description below of the video. And yeah, if you guys haven't signed up to Game Day Squad as well, they're partnered up with us for the season. So use my code BAILSDT at sign up. And yeah, you get 3 free packs valued at $21. So make sure you guys use that code, get signed up. And if you love fantasy as much as I do, another fantasy platform to play there. So make sure you guys get involved with that. There's some videos from Game Day Squad on the channel as well with us if you don't know much about the platform. So make sure you check those out, guys. But good luck for this tonight. Hopefully you get your players locked in. Hopefully you get some good scores. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow for our pre-lockout chat live at 6 p.m. on YouTube and 3 p.m. Western Standard Time as well. There may be a watch long tonight as well for the Carlton-Richmond game. Time recording, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm leaning more towards I will do one. So if you guys want to watch that game with me tomorrow night on YouTube and see the fantasy scores tick over, then I might be doing that tomorrow night. So make sure you guys tune in for that. But thanks, everyone. Make sure you smash the like on the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. So thanks, guys. Good luck. See ya.